we are indeed doing another massive Lotus Eaters live stream to cover the US elections on Tuesday, the 5th of November. We will have a giant roster of guests, both in the studio and remotely via Zoom, and we will be live streaming on Rumble, so we'll be able to say exactly what we think, no holds barred. Do tune in, it's going to be great, and hopefully we'll be ringing in Trump's second term, or perhaps we'll be having a massive meltdown. Who knows what the future holds. See you then. Kamala, and see here, Michigan, Trump quite comfortably ahead in some places. Wisconsin, Minnesota. Like it's going very, very nicely.
It's worth mentioning the one thing I should have mentioned it earlier, but you know, Richard Barris, the People's Pundit, he pointed out that those three states, the Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, have gone the same way since 1988. So if one of them goes Trump's way, we should expect the other two to go exactly the same way.
And so far, it's looking that way.
And I mean, coming in, that's one of the things I was looking for. Any divergence there, because according to Barris, divergence also suggests malarkey. But they look like they're basically all the same margin. So that kind of lines up with, because they're basically very similar areas. Like they have similar concerns, similar demographics and things like that. So they tend to vote basically exactly the same way.
California and Washington.
Yeah, they're bound to be Kamala, though, to be honest. So not terribly surprising on that one. But Samson, can we pull up my Twitter feed very briefly, please? Because I decided to flick around some other live streams, and I just happened to find myself on the Young Turks live stream, which was interesting. And it was just I clicked a random point in the stream. And it just so happened that Cenk and Anna were both on the screen at the same time. We're going to scroll down a bit here. I'm just saying that I think one of these people voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That is not a happy face, is it?
Well, one of them doesn't have a happy face.
Oh, Cenk's face, yeah.
One of them looks like she's getting her own back on someone.
Smug and knowing, isn't it? It's
kind of an appreciative smirk there. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm sick of being molested by homeless people on my front lawn. I'm just sick of it. Maybe I will vote for Donald Trump. I'm sick of all of the terrible things that Democrats have done in California. Maybe I'm voting for Donald Trump. Just saying.
Someone's saying she's got a redemption arc.
Yeah. Lots of people are enjoying Anna's return to grace.
Yeah.
I will say that the Young Turks, in fairness to them, somewhat anticipated this.
Yes.
Because even said a couple of weeks back, listen, people don't like woke stuff. They don't like
Kamala.
they don't like Kamala. You should have gone for a more kind of economically populist, like Bernie or somebody like that. This is just rubbish. Everybody hates it. And I mean, in fairness, both him and likes of Bastani here have been saying that for a while. Yeah. So I feel like, ironically, the harder left or the further left are wiser than the kind of soft centre at the minute.
I honestly think it's because they're more exposed to the sort of MAGA crowd on Twitter, right? And weirdly enough, because everyone talks about, social media bubbles. It's like, yes, but there's also personal bubbles, right? And the people at the sort of New York Times and the Washington Post and all these sort of places, on a personal level, they'll be like, I don't know a single Trump voter. But these guys know a lot of Trump voters because they're constantly being racist to them in their Twitter replies, right? And so they understand there is a world outside of their own personal bubble.
Just been worn down. 8 years of bullying.
Bullying works.
Thank you, Mr. Psychologist.
Yeah.
But that's basically what's happened. So I do think it's given them, because they've got less institutional protection from the outside, and it's forced them to admit, there is a massive number of these people, and I seem to share a country with them. And when they say this, it seems to be representative of a swathe of the audience of the country's opinions, and so you get this kind of effect, I think.
It's a good point. I wonder how Destiny is doing as well. Since Destiny is pulling a Cenk right now.
Probably not having a great night.
No. Similar faces.
Yeah, same with the BBC and Channel 4 and ITV and all of it. I saw Harriet Harman was on like Talk TV or something, Talk Radio. She was like, well, I mean, a Donald Trump win would be terrible. And she was looking quite downcast. And it's like, oh, good. Oh, good. All of the right people, or the wrong people, should I say, are coping and seething right now. So
I saw Sly News as well. We're putting out something about Kamala talking to voters, and turns out she just had the camera app open.
oh, God.
I don't know if you saw that.
And the two
She was pretending to talk to voters, and it was actually a camera app because she went like that, and it. But Sly News running the train for it.
No, I know the night is still relatively young, Carl.
Yes.
But I've been saying for months, years almost at this point, regime want Trump. Harris is a jobber. There's not going to be a steal, and even there's probably not going to be that much kind of rioting and stuff afterwards. Mainly because, and the reason I made these calls, to the howls of derision, I might say. You're not laughing now, but to the reason I think these things is because the media have basically just been telling us. I always think that the media telegraph what's going to happen. They basically tell you. Back in 2020, they primed us hard for what was going to happen. They constantly told us, listen, all Biden's votes are going to come in late. Trump is going to claim the victory. Then we're going to get then we're going to get something happening. You had the Zuckerberg, 200 million, 300 million, right? You've got the Time article. This time we haven't had any of that. We've had essentially regime media saying, listen, Trump's probably going to be the president. Financial Times, Bloomberg. Don't forget, the regime needs stability for markets, for the money men. They need to actually know what's going to be happening. And that there's been something that's talked about called the Trump trade. Okay, so they've been signaling for quite a long time that Trump is about to be president.
I'm gonna contradict you slightly. I don't think that they want.
They come to peace with India.
I think they've accepted that essentially their electoral machine is shit. Right? I think they've come to accept that they can't do another Biden. It was too much energy, and it would be too implausible with Kamala Harris. The Republicans are too on guard because Trump was just open about saying, no, they stole it. Look at them, they stole it. And so half of America is like, they might well be trying to steal it because they are evil. Categorically, demon KKK rats. It's the scientific designation. But the point being that their electoral machine, I think it's running out of energy, basically. It's kind of burned through all of the goodwill, I guess you'd call it, but like the capital that it had built up from Barack Obama, right? Mm-hmm. And it's worn out at this point. Biden wasn't an ideal candidate, and Kamala is definitely not. She's a terrible candidate. And they're still facing a better MAGA machine. I mean, look at the tremendous support that Trump has managed to rally. It was just 4 years ago, elites didn't come up for Trump. Like massive, newspapers, like in cool papers, like what was it, GQ or something like that, or one of those,
cool
Maxim or something. Not Maxim, but they sort of. They brand themselves as sort of high-class magazine. They're coming out for Trump. You've got Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, people like that. They're all coming out for Trump. The billionaires, the tech bros. Even Mark Zuckerberg's basically like, yeah, I'm probably voting Trump.
Bezos,
yeah, putting his foot down. So they don't want this, but I think they have come to terms with their side has run out of steam. They're not going to be able to pull this off. Trump honestly represents something that is true about the United States. Mm-hmm. And I think they've just accepted it.
But I do think it's important to stress that the regime gained something from a Trump win, which is buy back into the system, belief in democracy, the legitimacy of the whole thing, people having faith in their institutions again, signing up to the military again so that they can once again go to the,
But the sacrifice that they're going to have to make is the woke, as you keep pointing out. They're going to have to make moral compromises on this. And that's not something they're very happy to do at the best of times. But especially when you've got to kind of buy in with woke. Woke is the total antithesis of the mythological narrative of the United States. I mean, that's why they've been attacking the Pilgrims, the Founding Fathers, and everything up until literally right now. So to walk all that back is going to require quite a lot of purging.
I honestly think the death knell, I mean, I think this trend was already happening, as I've talked about, but the real death knell for the woke, in my view, was 10/7 and the fallout from that. There was a slew of books. David Baddiel here wrote a book called Jews Don't Count, okay? But there was also the campus protests and Claudine Gay and all of that sort of stuff. And a lot of those people who were funding those things, or who had previously been, you know, reasonably kind of tolerant of the woke or whatever, suddenly decided, oh, this is not a very good idea, because, you know, they're starting to push in a direction that we don't like. So I feel like if you have a look at the sort of things that Chris Rufo says, for example, one of the huge drivers for putting the woke away, as I've talked about a lot, and Trump will be very much on board with this as well, and Elon Musk will as well, is that it's basically leading to a situation that could be untenable, like on campuses and in various other walks of life, when they start targeting groups other than the white minority, let's just say. So yeah, I do really think that those things are baked in. And I mean, the truth is, if America doesn't do this, it's kind of like, let's just pretend that they try to steal now. Yeah. Right? Can you imagine how much damage it would do to the country?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would basically be it for America. Yeah. It would be like saying we're about to go into a dictatorship. So in a way, like earlier on, we were talking about late republic, or, you know, Caesar and all of that sort of thing. Then you really would be facing a situation like that. And I think they'd rather not. I think they'd rather have this continuation of the American story. And to be honest, I feel like the reason that Trump is winning is because that's where most Americans are.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and I think that's the authentic American belief.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.